What is going on, everybody, and welcome to new lighting. Yeah! What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Khosla on F1. It is June 10th today, Friday before the 2016 Canadian Grand Prix, and I am super excited. Maybe not as excited as I was before free practice started, but yeah, that's mainly what we're going to be covering in today's show. In case you haven't noticed, I have two bright lights shining at my face, and it is extremely painful, but at least the image looks good, at least from what I can see. Hopefully it looks this good in editing, but that's for me to worry about later. Thank you all for tuning in. I do apologize for not having a show last week, but I was studying for finals. I just graduated my sophomore year, so that's an awesome feeling there, halfway through high school. Yeah, so now that summer started, hopefully I will have a lot more time to get these things out, to work on this channel, really improve the production quality here, because this has sort of been scrapped together every Friday. This probably takes me about 20 minutes to get this all together, because I'm pretty much grabbing things from everywhere, but hopefully I'll be able to set this up as a permanent station and probably get this set filled up, maybe get some posters back here. But today it's going to be a pretty short show. Again, not much preparation because I had just finished my last final earlier today. But we will be going over the Canadian Grand Prix and pretty much what we can expect to see come this Sunday. Canada, it's a great Grand Prix for me personally because it's same time zone as where I am. I'm on the east coast of the U.S., so it just makes it so much easier because you don't really have to do any of the time conversions. You know the race is going to be at 2. So that all makes everything nice and easy. Coming into the weekend, obviously, Daniel Ricciardo lost 2 wins on the trot at Spain and Monaco. Spain, not as much, but Monaco was much clearer. Yeah, I think you can definitely see his frustration, and I think he still holds that. But I think based on free practice, I don't know how strong he's really going to be, how strong the Red Bull is going to be here, because Canada, it is a real power circuit. So it's going to be tough for them to perform as well as the Mercedes and the Ferraris. But I think we can definitely see them being the third best team around here. Come Baku, we'll have to see how they do there. It does have a lot of corners, but it also has some long straights. So it's really going to be a trade-off. And I think the Renault engine is now mediocre rather than dreadful, which is definitely positive. But I think they're still not where they want to be when it comes in the engine department. Going through free practice 1, might as well just get straight into this. Lewis Hamilton right on top by 0.3 over Nico Rosberg. So Mercedes on top. I think more or less what we expected to see. I think Monaco was a one-off where the Red Bulls were genuinely faster. It'll be interesting to see. I think Lewis Hamilton, he was 0.5 faster than Rosberg in FP2, so it really looks like his weekend again. He seems to be on a roll. Honestly, personally, I was hoping for a big fight between 3 teams, hopefully 6 drivers scrapping it out for the win. Unfortunately, doesn't look that way, but second place looks a little interesting, as Sebastian Vettel looks to be giving Nico Rosberg a bit of a run for his money, and Nico Rosberg must just be thinking, where were those 4 wins in a row that I had earlier this year? I mean, it's been a quick turnaround for him, from a DNF in Spain to the brake issues in Monaco, and now he doesn't seem to be... I don't think Canada's ever been a strong track for him, so yeah, it's not been his season. I say it's not been his season. It's not been his last couple of races, but hopefully we'll see him bounce back, and excuse me. Hopefully we will see a proper Mercedes fight to hopefully the last race this season. Going down the order, I really need to start printing these in larger font, but it was Mercedes topping the order in FP1. And it was Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes in FP2. So the Ferraris do look there. Kimi Raikkonen's a little bit off the pace. Max Verstappen, though, looking fairly impressive. He was 9 tenths off in FP2. FP1, he was 7 tenths off. So I think we're still yet to see, obviously, pace from everyone, as everyone is probably still sandbagging a little bit, doing race pace runs. But that's to be expected. What else? We have Kimi Raikkonen's a little bit down there, but Jenson Button did very well to finish 7th in FP2 in his McLaren Honda. McLaren brought a turbo upgrade here. They were contemplating whether or not they should bring it, and I think they finally decided they should. It was worth spending the tokens. And according to Fernando Alonso, I believe it was, he said the turbo doesn't give them more power, but what it does is it gives them more regeneration. So they essentially have more of that energy recovery system to use on those straights. So that is probably what's giving this, so that gets them that boost out of those corners. And around Canada, which is a very point-and-shoot circuit, I think that's really, really important to have. And I think it might have been a good call from Honda. And we could see McLaren Honda, again, fighting for points. And if they can do that around here, a real power circuit, that's really good news for the upcoming season, as that means the chassis just needs to develop, and hopefully Honda can continue to work, as they seem to be doing a lot better this year than they were last year. Williams looked decently strong. Felipe Massa had a big crash. Williams called it, I believe they blamed the DRS not closing properly on his car in turn 1, and so he went off on a pretty large impact into the wall of turn 1. What else did we have? We had Nico Hulkenberg, Carlos Sainz. So even the Toro Rosso, which is supposedly has the weakest engine on the grid, doesn't seem to be that bad. Other than that, not really many surprises. Everyone really where you would expect them to hop in. So it looks like Mercedes right now is the team to beat. Ferrari looks second best, followed by Red Bull. Then I think Williams. And then we start to get into that really gray area where it's been all season, where it's sort of McLaren, Honda, Force India, and Toro Rosso all seem to be even there. Haas has really fallen down, though, this weekend, 15th and 18th in FP2. Where were they? 13th and 16th in FP1. So they don't really seem to be where they want to be if they want to be scoring points. But they seem to be that sort of next level. Then it looks like Renault, Sauber, and Manor. If we look at the table here, from 4th place to about 15th, everyone's covered within a second there. So in that sense, the midfield battle is so exciting. So that's from Max Verstappen to Romain Grosjean. And that's so exciting. That's such an exciting prospect to have, because it could go any way. 1 second is a large amount of time, but to be covered by how many 10, 11 drivers in that amount of space is insane. 1 second. So I really hope this does mean that we have a lot of, we don't have what we had last year, where it was Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, Williams, all of that stuff. It is a mix of things, and you can really start to see where some people shine and where some people don't. So we have Mercedes, Red Bull, Williams, McLaren, Ferrari, Force India, Toro Rosso, McLaren, Force India. It's just such a mixture of teams there. It's no just single team is the best. Up front, it is sort of easier to see that, but in the midfield, it's so close. It could be anyone's game, and I think that's so exciting to have. If we could just bring that up to the front runners, that would make this grid so great. And I think having these stable rules, for the past 2 years, we've had a stable set of rules. So teams have been able to, they've been able to develop their cars to fit those rules. And it's come to a point where everyone's sort of hitting that limit. Mercedes has certainly hit that limit, so other people are starting to catch up to them. And I think that's so exciting, because we could have a huge title fight on our hands, rather than it just being Hamilton and Rosberg in 2014 and just Hamilton in 2015. It's a genuinely exciting prospect to think that we do have multiple teams coming into each weekend and fighting for these wins. I think that's such an exciting thing to look forward to. While that does look like the season is going to be like that, race by race, I'm not sure it's going to be as close. Here, it looks like Lewis Hamilton really has the edge on everyone else. He has the best car on the grid. He has, I think, the best reputation of any driver here at this track on the grid. I think he has 4 or 5 wins here, which is pretty crazy. So I think it's his race to lose here today, but you never know what's going to happen come FP3 and qualifying and the race. There could be issues. We know Mercedes struggled from issues in 2014 with their brakes, handing the victory to Daniel Ricciardo that year. Don't really know how they are this year. Reliability we know isn't the best. That Mercedes engine doesn't seem to like to be strained too much. So it'll be very interesting to see as they are on these very high-speed circuits. That's honestly probably the biggest thing for the lead. I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge. I think it's going to be Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg, probably Sebastian Vettel, or one of the Red Bull guys in third. It's unfortunate to say this, but I don't know how exciting Canada is going to be, because last year we had probably one of the most boring Canadian Grand Prix ever, which pretty much summed up that god-awful year. But this year everything's been so good, and I don't want it to die out yet. I want it to keep rolling, keep on getting better and better and better as the season progresses. I hope Canada can deliver. There's a lot of good places for overtaking there, but also it does look, at least up front, that Hamilton sort of got that. So I don't think we're going to have the best fight for the lead, but I think behind the leaders it will be very close and hopefully very exciting. Other news, not really all that much happened, which was sort of another reason why I didn't do an episode last week, is that things have been really quiet. Formula One, I believe yesterday, signed a new sponsorship with Heineken. I personally am yet to have read the details of that, but I can definitely cover that on next week's show if you guys want me to, so leave the thumbs up if you'd like to see that. Other than that, not really much happened. Obviously, there have been, silly season rumors have started spiking up again. Ricciardo to Ferrari, Rosberg to Ferrari. One of those might happen, is what people are speculating. I think those are the two big stories right now, Button potentially to Williams. Here's my thoughts, at least on the Ricciardo to Ferrari, and I'm not sure if I shared this last week. If I did, I'm extremely sorry, but I will be going into this again. I do not think Daniel Ricciardo should make the move to Ferrari, and there's a very good reason for this. If you take a look at Ferrari, since about 2009, they have not had anything near the best car on the grid. 2009, they had like the 4th or 5th best car. 2010, it was probably 3rd best car. 2011 was probably 3rd or 4th. 2012 was probably 4th or 5th, so you sort of get the gist there. They really have not had the best car, and I just don't think they have what it takes. I don't know what it is. I think it's the mentality of the team, really, is that it's such an old team that you need to pretty much erase everything that they're thinking, because Ferrari, they solely rely on the history of the team to pull them forward, and I mean, they're a fine team. They keep being, they're always 2nd or 3rd best, but that's never good enough. They want world championships, but I don't see Ferrari, at least in its current form, being able to fight for world championships. I think this year and next year is going to be Mercedes versus Red Bull. Mercedes has the engine package, Red Bull has Adrian Newey. And when Red Bull starts to get that, and when Renault starts to work on that engine, and they start to get it up to par with Mercedes, I think that Red Bull car will be as good as it was in the 2010 to 2013 era, in that V8 era. Adrian Newey is such a genius when it comes to setting up these cars and designing them, that I really don't see. I mean, they have the best chassis, and I think by a long way. They should not be up there. If you look at the Renault team, 16th and 20th in FP2 compared to 4th and 5th. So that says something when you're running the exact same engine, but your chassis is able to propel you that far forward. Obviously, the Renault doesn't have the best chassis, but I genuinely think Red Bull is the place to be. And if Daniel Ricciardo can prove to the team that he is better than Max Verstappen, and he deserves to be getting that preferential treatment, then I think Red Bull is the place for him to be. I think, personally, I think Max Verstappen made the move too early. He got promoted too early in his career. This might be a case of him peaking too early, or it could be the case of the most successful F1 driver in the world. We don't really know. So it's difficult to say, but I think right now Daniel Ricciardo is the number one driver. Saying that, though, Max Verstappen did beat him in both sessions in FP1. We'll have to see, though, how Daniel Ricciardo responds to that. But I think Daniel Ricciardo will be the number 3 driver in this championship. I think he'll be that underdog. He'll be hopefully bringing the fight to the Mercedes throughout the season, similar to 2014, but hopefully this time a lot closer and a lot more competitive. And with that, I think that's rounding off this episode. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to be switching up the Sunday format, because right now what we're doing is actually posting stuff on the blog. So posting a quick narrative, a quick little report on the race and my thoughts on the race. That's what we're sort of doing right now. If you guys would like to see me do videos after the race, I can definitely do that, as hopefully I can start to get this set up and it becomes a much easier process to do, rather than sort of running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get this all sorted out in time. Other than that, I think that's today's episode. I look forward to watching the Canadian Grand Prix, and I hope you guys do too. And I will either be writing to you or talking to you on Sunday. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.